Hey everybody, Lance Bell here at Lance's Car Life. I hinted at before, it is time for the worst vehicles of all time, and I start with the honorable mention, what is the Pontiac Aztek. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand something. This vehicle has been talked about ad nauseum, and let me explain. Everybody has bashed this car, so I intentionally kept it off the main list for this reason. Now, people in general don't understand why. I'm not talking about you, the consumer. Now, this is a vehicle, as I look at my notes here, number one, it was way too easy. Everybody universally hated this car. Now, as I can say is, it's been so talked about and so hated. Why get in the details? This is a vehicle that was actually designed and produced by committee. And that is a huge issue. Now, in production, especially automotive, you never, ever, ever want to do that. And for people to initiate it to the Pontiac Aztek, you have to understand that. Now, people who's long-term car people understand this point. As I look at my notes here, General Motors at the time in the early 2000s wanted to jack up all trades when it came to small or compact, as I put in big air quotations at the time. It was a master of none. And I'll get to that in a moment. So you have to understand this. So I look at my notes. It had the corporate engine with a 3.5 liter V6. Now, as far as the engine itself, it was very corporate. Yes, it was slow, doggy, all of that. Everybody understands that. From the standpoint, you gotta understand something from that time point. That what General Motors was pushing out at the time. Now, if you look at from that standpoint, if you look at the platform itself, it was actually a variant, of the van platform, which you have to understand something. In that van platform, it was the Lumina APV, the Pontiac Transporter Montana, depending on the year line you looked at, the Oldsmobile Silhouette. That is one of those ones where General Motors was straight up being General Motors. Basically, they were trying to design something on the cheap. And I get it, they're a big major conglomerate, but it's like, come on, guys. You know better than that. And it's, ugh. As I get down farther into my notes, it just makes me mad and mad and mad what they tried to do with this vehicle. As an example, like I said at the beginning of the video, it was a great idea, but a horrible end product. Now, I'm going to kick it over to regular cars in this particular situation. Now, I'll leave a link down below because I don't want to get flagged on this. But far as what went on the inside, he gives the best, and I mean the best, analogy of what went on the inside. So here we go.
They filled it full of bullshit. How about a rollout cargo tray that just comes out of the entire car? How about a tent? A tent. How about removable door bags? Do you want a backpack? Your car comes with a backpack. You get an onboard air compressor, that's kind of useful. You get a heads-up display that the camera can't see, but that's kind of cool too. You get radio controls in the trunk for controlling the radio from the trunk. It's a tailgate thing. And the center console is also a cooler. Take your bullshit with you.
Now I come back, another thing really, really, really irked me with this. At the beginning of this production, Now, understand, in 6 months, they decided to do a redesign, but I can't blame Pontiac or even General Motors in this situation. And that is the outside body armor. Why do I say that? You have to understand something. I don't blame the Aztek in this. I actually blame the Isuzu Vericross. Now, with the Vericross, as you see in the picture here, that was the most advanced four-wheel drive system in the world at the time. But granted, it was very pricey at the time. But that body armor just killed it for a lot of people. And understand something, that particular vehicle is a collector's item for a lot of people. But let's get real. That body armor killed it for the Aztek. As an example, you know, you can look at, I'm gonna use General Motors' own sister. Not okay. That's not even the sister product. They use something else called the Pontiac. Not the Pontiac. I'm sorry. The Chevrolet Avalanche. They put that big time body armor on it, and a lot of people didn't like it. Now the Avalanche is a different video for a different day. I get that because a lot of people didn't want that truck, but a lot of people didn't want that. I'm looking at my notes here also. You had I said the Avalanche. I said even the Honda did it with the first generation Honda Element. They did that. The Pontiac Aztek. I mean, especially the Element and the Aztek. Not the Aztek. I'm sorry. The Pontiac Vive. I apologize for that, folks. The Pontiac Vive. They didn't do it to the extent the Honda Element. And people will probably jump on me on this video. It's like, well, it was a Honda, this and that, and all this. Like, a lot of people didn't buy the Element for that reason. And the people watching this knows this. Nobody, and I mean nobody, wanted this plastic gray body armor. Ugh. In the SUV mid-size market from this time period, it was a new burgeoning market. I mean, a lot of people wanted that front-wheel drive, 4-cylinder or V6, depending on what it was. And keep in mind, it was the early 2000s. Now, General Motors, to their credit, gave us the Pontiac Aztek. Now, they had on the same variant of platform, and I say variant, so you can look it up yourself. They gave us the Buick Rendezvous. Now, the Rendezvous, I've always said, had the most beautiful dashboards of all time. I'm talking dashboard only, not anything else. They gave us the Chevrolet Equinox, so they still make to this day, and I know a lot of people issue with the Equinox, and the Saturn VU. Now, I'm saying the word VU, I'm using the Hmong culture nomenclature or dialect. So, I'm going off of that, so don't yell at me in the comments below because of that reason. So, they had 4 vehicles on this platform. And it did very, very, quote-unquote, well, if you count the Equinox. That's still going to this day. So, folks, I put this out there as one of the worst vehicles of all time, but as an honorable mention. So, with that being said, let me know your comments below. Do you like it? Do you don't like it? Please like, share, subscribe. I'd like to know your feelings on this. And just let me know. And this is Lance of Lance's Car Life.